Welcome to AD Academy. The main motto of this channel is AI for Aam Janta. My name is Dr. Ayan Debnath. I am an IIT Delhi alumni and Fulbright Research Scholar at Harvard University. I have total 9+ years of experience in the field of artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, NLP, generative AI. Let's watch this video. Welcome to my metaverse.
Hey, hi everyone. Today we have Dr. Ashish Kapoor, our special guest in my podcast entitled Where IITians Meet. So let me introduce you, Dr. Ashish Kapoor. Hi Ashish. Yeah,
Hello, Ayan. Thank you. It's great meeting you.
my pleasure to have you on board here. And like after a long time, we are having some discussion. So let's have some fruitful discussion. So let me introduce you guys, Dr. Ashish Kapoor. He received his master degree in textile engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi in 2015. He then joined the Fiber and Polymer Science PhD program at Wilson College of Textiles in North Carolina State University in August 2015. And he started working towards the development of fiber-based multimodal and multifunctional active sensory textile. He received the North Carolina State University Postdoctoral Recruitment Fellowship for 2015 and 16, that scholarship in 2018. Since the completion of his PhD in March 2020, he has been working as a textile development module engineer in Intel in Oregon. So, yeah, so nice to have you here.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Yeah, it's a pleasure here to be. Thank you.
Yeah. So like now I will jump with few questions. There are various students across the globe like who are studying now or maybe some aspirant fellows like who wanted to go into Intel. But the thing is that they don't have much knowledge about how the interview goes on or how they will like study or how they will prepare themselves. So with respect to that, I will ask you few questions. But first of all, my question is like, can you share some of your overall experience of interviewing at Intel?
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, we can begin that. So the Intel interview was a wonderful experience. It was a day-long interview. There were two aspects to it primarily. One was the technical side, and second was the behavioral side. So in the technical side, in the first round, I was asked to present my PhD research so that they could evaluate if I was an experimentalist during my PhD work, what kind of tools I used, what materials I worked with. So that was the first aspect. And the primary goal of that interview I can think of was to understand my logical reasoning and how I took decisions about conducting my research. It could be as simple as why did I choose a particular material? Why
Mm,
did I choose a particular process? What tools I used to analyze data? And in what application I was working to apply them towards. So that was the first aspect. The other aspect was the behavioral interview. And the primary essence of a behavior interview, which I can, looking back, think of is to understand if the individual is capable of working as a team player. Because in Intel, we are making the world's most advanced chips, and currently my role is a technology development module engineer. I work in the dry etch module where we are using plasma technology to create patterns in the semiconductor wafers. And the next module which comes in will fill copper. That's why we are able to get those electrical interconnects. And finally, the chip will go downstream. So it's a very team oriented task. The goal is big, and each of the module focuses on their expertise, and we work with different folks who have experience in like data. They could be like process enthusiasts. Some folks will be equipped with like strong equipment knowledge. So it's critical that a person is able to embed well into the team and contribute.
mm,
So, in summary, the overall interview started with a presentation about my research, which was a technical part. Then there was a behavioral interview. Then we also had an interview with the future potential manager, who just like kind of reiterates the questions around team player and working with other stakeholders, etc.
mm. Okay, okay, fine, fine. And could you also like specifically mention like what are the technical skill or knowledge like they were assessing during your interviews for your job role?
Yes. So this is the one question. If people look at my profile, they ask that I was a textile engineer by background, and then currently I'm working as a process engineer, which we broadly refer to ourselves in Intel. So what happened is that during my PhD, I got an opportunity to diversify my skill sets. I was working in the area of
Mhm.
smart textiles or wearables, where I got an opportunity to do a minor in electrical engineering to enhance my knowledge in the field of sensors, because in the smart wearables area or smart textiles area, we were trying to take the concepts from rigid electronics or semiconductors and then apply it to flexible fibrous assemblies. So one critical thing which I have learned is that initially I would not have considered myself eligible to apply for this role, but I was reached out by a recruiter through one of the career info sessions which happened at the university. And the main skill they were looking for is somebody who is an experimentalist. In my PhD research, I was fabricating electrically conductive fibers where I was using extrusion technology, and then I was doing resistive, capacitive sensing, etc. So the recruiter was mostly focused, and the team was as well focused, that how well does a person know about the experiments he has carried on? Does he understand the design of experiments and way of conducting experiments and collecting data? So I think that being an experimentalist and having dealt with equipments, troubleshooting, and analyzing data were the broader skill sets which they were looking for. That is why they were not shy of hiring somebody who has a different background but has gained these skill sets, because then what it reflects is that this person is flexible in terms of gaining new skills and also trainable.
Right.
So those are the skills I think were being looked by the recruiter.
Okay, right. So it means that like people from other diverse field also they can come into this field, not only maybe in the process engineering but some other domain, because interviewers mainly assess your skill sets and the approach and whether you are
Exactly. Yeah, I would say, and just to be clear, when you apply for roles, one should carefully read the job description. And a lot of this positions similar to mine are referred to as entry-level position.
Mhm.
And in those cases, you will see they will ask for a master's or PhD in like multiple different branches. So you can then start to think that actually I kind of fit into this broader domain, and I would like to maybe transition into this field. So one should think in that aspect as well.
Right. Okay, okay, nice. And like how do you prepare yourself? Like whether it is a 1 year long preparation or whether it is a very short time preparation, but how you prepare yourself?
So, regarding preparation, first thing is that one should start early. That if you're going to be in the job market, and the one thing I did was like talk to the mentors, the seniors who actually graduated from my research lab, who were working in these companies, that what do they think? And one good advice which I got, and people might defer to that, is that they wanted that actually the role is dry etching. If you start to learn dry etch in a couple of weeks, you will not be able to master it. You might get a very broader idea, but they wanted me to focus. They actually encouraged me that I should much dive deeper into the work I'm actually doing, so that
Mhm.
I can be an expert in the field I am working on. Because that what is a very strong point, which is actually a sellable quality. Because you're supposed to give a 40 or 50 minutes long presentation with like
Mhm.
intense questions about the fact they're focused on why you chose a certain thing, why a particular decision was made. So I dedicated my time to get better and understand much more about the work I was doing. And one aspect is that during my grad school, participated in this 3-minute thesis competition, which was actually PhD researchers were encouraged, or even any kind of researcher was encouraged to summarize their research work in 3 minutes, which is accessible to an audience of like variety of domain. And what happened is that I think that gave me so much clarity about why should the society care about my research. And
Mhm.
you will also relate, and folks who are listening, that if you really sit down and think that if I have to explain my research work to a person
Chat.
who is not of the field, you have to really drill it down, not like dumb it down, but you have to simplify the concepts so that it is accessible to the common masses. And I feel that that was like a very important critical point, which enhanced the understanding of concepts about my research and why I was doing and why it mattered to someone. Uh, so that preparation was going with me. I did not have to put extra effort, because then it naturally came to me. I was always thinking about that. I'm creating these materials, I'm fabricating this. Is it useful? Is it going to create an impact in the society in some aspect? So that was always going. And the second aspect was talking to mentors to understand what their interview experience was, and then you can get key aspects. And I would say that talk to multiple mentors when in your network, because one person might say that you should focus on like aspect A versus aspect B. But I think that knowing what you're doing is really critical, because it's people, if somebody has shortlisted you to interview, they already know what you have done from your
Yes.
resume. So pretty much not to fight the fact that I'm belonging to a different field, but rather showing them that I'm expert in my field and I have gained these transferable skills, which I feel are very critical in the current world. I just to extend a little more my answer, I guess folks get very narrow in terms of vision that I've done this research, I only see 5 opportunities, where am I supposed to apply? Right? But the moment you start seeing that your work gave you so many transferable skills, it could be design of experiments, data analysis tools, like doing any characterization, reliability testing, quality inspection, etc. And all those skills will stay the same. The product might change.
Yeah.
So if one is able to sit down, drill through the transferable skills, they really give you a lot of confidence when you sit in any kind of interview, even without preparation, because that's a part of who you do on a day-to-day basis.
Did you spend some time like every day, say 1 or 2 hours for the preparation?
My routine was not very consistent, but I knew that I'm about to finish my PhD. I have to enter the job market. So I was looking at positions. More than that, I was actually going to all the career like company info sessions, because then you get to talk to people who are actually hiring for the role. You also get to hand them physically your resume, and they can also give you feedback as well. I did a lot of LinkedIn networking.
Yeah.
And one thing for behavioral interview is like on the internet, you'll find a lot of questions, but I think I spend more time regarding behavior interview, because it's difficult to answer sometimes the questions. Like if somebody just asks you that tell me a situation where you had a disconnect with your advisor and how did you navigate that situation? Tell me about a time where you trained a new research student in your lab. So I feel like those questions, we all have the answers, but we have to sit down and maybe write them down a little bit, because interviews can be a stressful and a nervous environment. And if we are pausing too much, or if we are not, if we get blank because of just not able to think of the right thing, it can dip down your confidence during the process. So I feel like just having like an Excel sheet and picking up these questions from the interview, like top 10 behavioral questions, and then writing the answers. I used to write like 5 situations. Like, what are the difficult situations I faced with my advisor? I used to have five reasons. Why did I how what was the method I used to train a junior mentor, like a junior student? I had a few methods, and I know that I'm not scripting or memorizing them. I have thought about them, so I'm sure, or at least I had the confidence to think that I will be able to remember at least one of those instances, and not just rely on one answer for one kind of situation. So I would say, uh, like like knowing well about what you are doing on day-to-day basis makes you strong technically. Second part is networking with the mentors and going physically to info sessions if possible, or even in your city, you can go to these meetups, etc., and give your resume, get feedback, talk to peers who have already been selected. And the third aspect is thinking about the situations in terms of behavioral and teamwork, so that that becomes a part of who you are. It is just a part of being more self-aware that I've actually done this, but now it is just the difference is now somebody's asking me in a different manner. The answer is within you, but it really needs a little like me time to just be more aware of what you have gone through the process in your school. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, nice to hear that. I think this will be very helpful for the students or the aspirants, like even if they are freshers or they are the professionals and want to switch their career or skyrocket their career, this informations and this guidance of yours will be very helpful for them. Now you are a Intel engineer or like you are a scientist at Intel. So like how is the day-to-day life of an engineer in Intel?
Okay. So uh, the my answer is going to be very specific to my role, because that's what I lived it on a day-to-day. So my technical description of the role is I'm a technology development, module integration, and yield engineer. So it means that it has some component of technology development. It has a module part. So modules are like in chip manufacturing, it could be photolithography, it could be like dry etching, wet etching, like deposition techniques, packaging techniques. So they are like different aspects of this chip making process. So I work in dry etch, and as a process engineer, and as you know, we're working in a factory which is making chips 24/7.
Mm,
So we are actually shift one employees. So shift one means we kind of technically start like 7:30 a.m. and wrap up the day towards the evening. And you have these in current time you have night shift engineering support which comes in, and in the afternoon you also have a compressed work week, which are like the first line of defense before the things get escalated to you. So we have to wake up in the morning, get a understanding of what happened during the night, which is called a pass down. You talk to night shift engineering folks. Either you have like a teams conversations with them, or like read the pass down they send. You understand what entities, in my case, these are like dry etchers. These are like giant machines the size of a room. You will see that was there any error, was there any error in on the wafer which aborted. Then you will look at the data, like you look at, let's say, like RF traces. You'll try to disposition the wafer. So the goal in a factory is to have the product keep continuously moving and
mm,
understanding. And once that is done, then you focus on recovering the entity which went down due to abort. It could be electrical, mechanical, any sort of abort. It could be process related issue, etc. So I think the pace I have seen here is very fast. Things are really moving at a fast pace, and it is different from academia, where where we were like we had some control of like leisurely defining our experiments, doing it at our time. Of course, there are some components in lab experiments which are time sensitive, but I feel that once you're in the job, during the when your day starts, it is like very fast paced, and you have to have a holistic picture of what's happening in your module. When you say in your module means you have a dry etching module, you have multiple tools in that, or machines, and everybody is a tool owner, and everybody takes care of their tools. And then there is so currently this is weekend, we are talking, and I'm actually a weekend on call engineer. So I'm the one person supporting Saturday and Sunday. So Monday morning when 8 a.m. my friends come, then distribute, then the job responsibilities will start as. And if I have any issues, I am encouraged to escalate to my manager, which will be the second point of contact if I'm not able to troubleshoot a problem with the resources I'm given and with the folks I'm aware of. So I think it's interesting. It gives you a perspective of how product manufacturing happens, how like the pace is very critical, because as you know here, we are trying to deliver the next technology node every year, or there is a goal, there are competitors, and we are trying to put the best product out. So you can already understand how critical the timeline is. During COVID, when chip manufacturing the chip shortage, which became like a big deal so quickly, vehicle manufacturers were not aware of the demand which is going to come suddenly, and there is a lead time. So for example, if you start with a blank semiconductor wafer, during my module comes around 70th day. So already you can imagine the whole process is like a few months. So even if I place an order right now, it's going to take some time for the product to be delivered to the customer. So that's why pace is very critical, and the quality. There are the principles, like it's called safety, quality, uh, output cost is in this manner. Safety is prioritized in the company, and then
mm.
quality is very critical. You don't want to deliver like substandard products to the customer. So it's very important the products go through multiple checks. uh, yeah, I can say a lot more, but that's a little
Yeah,
overview of what
yeah,
the
good,
role
good.
is like.
Yeah, right. And I think like also audience will be very curious to know. So like what are the parts from the company, and also on a rough scale, like how much is the salary range for a fresher, like in
Okay.
US or maybe in India? Just a
Okay.
basic graph overview.
Okay, so salary information, you can find a lot on Glassdoor, but PhDs in most cases. So Intel has like grade structure. So PhDs come in at grade 7, and we will see master's candidates coming at grade 5 or at grade 6. And salary ranges in terms of difference, it could be a difference of like $20,000, and there is like a range. So every grade has a salary range. Uh, I'm not very sure if I can say the numbers like I was hired at, but I would really recommend if folks
Okay.
can check out the Glassdoor process engineer salary. They give a very they are very close to the numbers which
Okay.
I've seen them myself. They're okay, but you can be a particular grade, but you can be at the top end, and
Mm,
company might not be ready to have a promotion budget for you to switch to next grade. But if you're performing uh, at target and even beyond, you will be compensated by increments. But more than that, like in tech companies, stocks are a big way of like saying a thank you or showing trust that there is a potential in this employee to grow forward, and based on the current situation we can reward him this, but going forward, as the promo budget or salary budget comes, they can go forward with that. But you can make a six-figure salary at least at the PhD level. That's what I can say. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Ashish. Thanks to talk to you. So, like, these informations will be really very helpful, and I am like pretty sure like people will come back to you. Maybe they can uh like ask you a few questions over LinkedIn or like any other social media platforms like where you'll be available mostly. I will share the details with them. And
Yep.
thanks a lot for giving your time. And I wish you all the best for your future.
Yeah, thank you. Just last few words. I'm very happy that you mentioned that folks can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm approachable, I'm reachable. And the one thing I can say is that I have limited experience, but I'm very happy to share whatever knowledge I have gained, because I feel we all learn from each other, and the power of internet is amazing now. We can collaborate with folks like, just on the different part of the globe. And also thank you, Ayan, for doing this podcast, because I think this is a great initiative. And if folks get more open about talking about career paths, how they prepare themselves, salaries, and there is transparency, this can inspire people. I was not thinking myself to be eligible to this role until a recruiter reached out to me and
Right.
told me that my skills are transferable, they are useful. So all the folks, the last message I would like to say is that if you think that your research is just in particular field and there are less opportunities, I would encourage them to reconsider that what are the transferable skills they are gaining during their process, and I'm sure that will open multiple paths. And networking is very critical in this day and age, and I would encourage people not wait till the last minute to update their LinkedIn profile or send those cold messages on LinkedIn till they are ready to find the job, but start early. I say it's like a relationship. You do not ask for marriage on the day one of the date, okay? So you try to develop that connection, and then then folks understand that this guy has been, or this person has been in touch with me for a few months, and now there is a role in my company. Why don't I ask them? But if you just ask them, can you please refer me to this position? Can you tell me, it's not going to work out. There are folks who sometimes reach out to me for referral directly, and I feel like I've never talked to them before, and I cannot vouch for their credibility as well. I'm not saying that I will doubt their technical capabilities. It's just like there is no connection. Thank you very much again. And you were listening to this podcast on AD Academy. I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you want to continuously be updated about the new guests Ayan is inviting. And that's a great way to stay connected with the career community as well. I wish you everyone all the best.